So first, to help get us started and fired up for the fight for 15, the president of the Oregon AFL-CIO, Mr. Tom Chamberlain.
Hello, working Oregon! There are two things we know that are on the upswing in this country. That is profit for big banks and corporations and those who fall from the middle class into the jaws of perspective. Since 2008, 95% of all increases in income has gone to the top 1%. Over that same time period, Oregon's lost 155,000 middle-class jobs, good-paying jobs that provide health care, retirement benefits. Yes, Oregonians are going back to work, but over half of them are going into new jobs that pay less than $12 per hour. In other words, 1 out of 4 workers are working as hard as they can and still live in poverty. America was once the land of opportunity. It is fast becoming a nation of the poor and disenfranchised. Today, 16,000 Oregonians are homeless. That's a city the size of Coos Bay or Troutdale or the Dalles. But you understand that. You know that 1 in 4 kids live in poverty. When we accept less than a living wage, we all pay. Your tax dollar subsidizes corporations who pay low wages, $1.7 billion last year. Corporations increase their profit and you and I pay. Corporate greed will destroy our state, our nation, our communities, and our families. It's time for Oregon to lead this nation away from an agenda of greed to shared prosperity, where if you work hard, you and your family get ahead. I want to leave you with this. The Oregonian came out yesterday trying to silence your voice with an article. Are you going to take it? We want 15 now. What do we want? 15 now. All right, say it so the governor can hear you. What do you want? Say it so the speaker can hear you. What do you want? Say it so the president of the Senate can hear you. What do you want? Thank you, my sisters and brothers.
Gracias.
Currently, Oregon's minimum wage law makes it legal to pay public and private sector workers wages that are far below the national poverty level for a family of 4. Today, as president of OSCA, I stand before you to ask all Oregonians to demand an end to an employer's ability to legally pay poverty wages. We can and should increase Oregon's minimum wage to $15 so our children may live in an environment that is not ravaged by the destructive forces of poverty. Governor Kitzhaber, Commissioner Avakian, and Oregon legislators, it's time you outlaw poverty wages here in Oregon.
We hear something every day about the economy recovering. Wall Street corporations are making bigger profits, and the stock market is growing and setting records every day. The problem is, that doesn't do anything for the vast majority of Oregonians who are struggling just to get by. It doesn't help the hardworking school bus driver, the custodian, the instructional assistant, or the other education support professionals who are working in our schools. And it certainly does not help our students who are living in poverty every day that come to school without a warm jacket or food in their stomachs. There are 42,000 members of the Oregon Education Association. Our board of directors is here today to stand behind all Oregon working families and say it's time, 15 now.
In addition to being a home care worker, I'm also the statewide president of the home care workers in Oregon. And there are tens of thousands of home care workers in Oregon. Many of them work as part of the gray market or are paid under the table. Many of them work for agencies, and over 20,000 of them are unionized and part of SEIU Local 503. All of us do the same thing. We make it possible for our state's seniors and differently abled citizens to choose to live in their own homes and receive the care that they need to live life on their own terms. We cook and clean, manage meds, help them bathe and dress. In short, we make it possible for our consumers to live relatively independent lives, all while saving state and the federal government a great deal of money. Ours is a profession that deserves dignity and respect. Our consumers totally depend on us, and generally speaking, they love us too. It is time for our work to receive the financial compensation it so richly deserves. Not only to lift up the current workforce, but to also ensure that this will be a profession that appeals to possible future home care workers, so that our industry can meet the fast-growing demand of our population, of our society. Our senior population alone looks to double by 2040. We absolutely need a well-compensated workforce to meet that demand. The best way to do this is to make sure that home care workers earn a living wage. As low-wage workers everywhere stand up and demand the opportunity to be able to support ourselves through full-time employment by receiving a living wage. But $13 an hour is not enough. $14 an hour is not enough. We need $15 an hour now. Thank you.
We got a visit from Ronald McDonald earlier. He tried to take over our rally. Tried to tell us that billionaires and millionaires own our state capitol building. Is that true? No. What do we want from McDonald's? We want them to pay their workers $15 an hour. Hey, McDonald's! Pay your workers $15 now. Hey, McDonald's! Pay your workers $15 now. What do we want? 15. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? 15. When do we want it? Now. McDonald's CEO makes $10,000 per hour. Upwards of $10,000 per hour. And their employees get paid minimum wage. People work in this store for years on end, and they barely make enough. They don't make enough to feed their families or provide housing for their children. It's shameful! So pay your workers 15 now! 15 now!
The rally today was great. We had hundreds of people from all over Oregon come out. We had people from as far away as La Grande and Klamath Falls out in southern and northern eastern Oregon. People from Medford, Ashland, Salem, Eugene, from all over the Portland area. People came from all over the state to tell their state legislatures that they demand a $15 minimum wage. We've got a bill for 15 in the state legislature. We've got about 16 sponsors on that bill so far. And so this rally really was a really good opportunity for people from all over the state to come together and demand that their legislators act. Because $12, $13, certainly $9.25 an hour is just not enough for working people. It's not enough for families to survive. And so we really need to do everything that we can to push our state legislatures to pass 15. It's the number that works in Oregon, and it's what people need.